and welcome to Ina Knits. My name is Ina, I live in Norway, and this is my knitting podcast, which is all about my knitting. I will talk to you about what's on my needles, what's off my needles, some lovely yarn and other knitting related things. I last recorded an episode in late August and now we are well into October. Today is actually October 14th, which is the International Mitten Day, or I don't know if it's international, but in Norway this day is called Mitten Day. And the reason for that is October 14th is the first day of vinterhalvåret, which translates to if you take the whole year and you part it in two, and you have winter on one half and summer in the other half, this is the first day of the winter half of the year, which is a very good explanation. There's probably an English word for it, but I can't recall right now. Anyhow, in the old days, the Norwegian calendar was what we call a primstav. And a primstav is basically a stick. They often made it out of wood, and they carved in certain days in the calendar, important days, church days and other days important for agriculture. And they had like the summer half of the year on one side, and then you had to flip it to the winter half, and then you had all the marking days of the winter on the other side. So 14th of November was always marked with a mitten, and that was the first day of the winter half. So that's why we still call it the Mitten Day, or now we call it Mitten Day. They didn't call it that in the old days. So yeah, I have been looking a little bit on Instagram today, and I saw lots and lots and lots of lovely pictures and posts about hand knitted mittens, which is very inspiring, and today I'm feeling super inspired to cast on a new pair of mittens. So I haven't though, but hopefully I will have something off my needles quite soon so I can cast on a pair of mittens. September and October has been quite a busy period for me. My youngest daughter, she had her confirmation 2 weekends ago, which was obviously a big day for her and for all of us in close family. And it was a super sunny, bright day, and everything went just perfectly. She looked amazing in her new national costume, or bunad, as we call it in Norway. And yeah, we were fortunate and had the opportunity to gather all of the close family. In these days, that's not something you can take for granted, so that was very fortunate for us that we could carry on with the celebration almost in a normal manner. We obviously had to take some precautions and be careful due to the COVID-19 virus. But it turned out to be a great day, and yeah, I'm quite happy now that I can just breathe out and relax, and now we have no big plans ahead for the rest of the year. So, as I said, I have been knitting a lot. So I have quite a few things to show you, and I will start off with showing you a piece that has been on my needles for a long time. If you have been watching my podcast before, you have probably seen it a couple of times already. And here it is. This little roll of fluff is a lovely scarf. It's a silk scarf. And I can fold it out and show you. Here it is. It is light and airy and very soft. And this whole thing weighs exactly 100 grams. So it is so light. And it is supposed to be worn like this. In some way. This is a silk scarf, and which I have been knitting for a close friend. I think maybe last time I told you that it was out of linen, but that's not true. The blue yarn here is a silk, it's pure silk yarn. So it is a pure silk yarn from Ito, and the thin yarn in between is silk mohair from Ito. So that's basically it. It's only stripes, altering between the pure silk and the silk mohair. And in the silk mohair part, I need some drop stitches, so that's why it's almost, or it's kind of transparent in those sections. And it is so comfy and so soft and nice. So I really hope that my friend will like it. The Ito yarn comes in, or the Ito silk, pure silk yarn comes in cones. So I used 1.5 cone for this scarf. And for the silk mohair part, I have half a nugget left. I think it's one little nugget of silk mohair is 25 grams, and I used 1.5. Yes, 1.5. And in total, there's 100 gram exactly. That's what this scarf weighs. So yeah, I'm very pleased to have it finished, because it's definitely not a complicated knit, but it was quite boring. I must honestly say, it is knit on needles it is knit on 3mm needles. You can't really see it because the edge is rolling a little bit, but I carried the yarn all the way on the edge. This scarf has no name. It was on display in a yarn shop in Zurich in Switzerland. So we popped by there while I was in Zurich 2 years ago and just saw it and thought it was beautiful, and we bought yarn for it, and we got like a printed pattern in Dutch, no, in German. And I'm not very skilled in German, but I understand enough to like understand what I had to do in that pattern. But I looked it up on Ravelry and it's not available there, so, and the pattern was only handwritten. Yeah, but I'm finished and I'm super pleased with that. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's why, yeah, we call it Pink October, and many knitters are knitting with pink yarn to draw attention to the breast cancer awareness campaign. And so have I. I have knitted myself a pair of mitts. And this yarn is so light that it's almost difficult to see that it's pink, but it is. It's super, super, super light pink. I think they are adorable. I haven't washed or blocked them or even woven in the ends, so please excuse me for that, but they're done. They're off the needles and I really, really like them. I think they're beautiful. And this pattern is called Cloudburst. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I think that the designer is named Ariane Gray. And it is a really simple lace pattern on the top of the hand. On the other side it's only plain. And it has a very neat thumb increase. See that? Yeah. It's very neat and nice. And with a twisted rib on top and bottom and on the thumbs. And they fit me perfectly. I did some modifications. I went down a needle size, so I knitted these in 2.5mm needles instead of 3mm needles, and because I cast it on with 3mm needles and they turned out a bit too big, and I like my mitts to be snug and have quite a close fit. That's what I prefer. So I went down a needle size and they turned out perfectly. I also knitted a few more rounds on thumbs. So I can really recommend these. They were quite fast to knit. I think I used 2 or 3 days to complete the pair. And the pattern is very intuitive and easy to remember. So yeah, I really like them, and I think I will knit another pair later. They're perfect for like gift knitting. So, and you know, this time of year if you want to knit up a couple of fast knit gifts for the holiday season, this would be perfect. So yeah, there's a couple of Norwegian podcasts that I watch. One has Pink October knit along. So these are kind of my contribution into that knit along. And the podcast is Frøken K. She speaks in Norwegian, so if that's something you want to check out, please do, because she is hilarious. I really like her. And there's also a possibility to donate money to the Pink October campaign here in Norway through her podcast. There's a link on her profile page on YouTube. So you can click on that link and donate money if that's something you want to do. Or you can just knit some pink stuff during the month of October and let that be your contribution. And the other podcast is Toretta and Vrang, which is also a Norwegian speaking podcast. I have been talking about them before. They are 3 sisters and they have a lovely, very funny podcast, and it's a lot of beautiful things. And they have a knit along going now on the cloudburst pattern. So I've been knitting pink cloudbursts and I'm double dipping in their knit alongs this month. And I'm very happy with my pink mitts. They're very appropriate for this time of the year. I realize now that I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. This is my ranunculus sweater. And a bunch of people have been knitting this pattern. It's very popular in the knitting world. It is a lovely pattern by Knit Cafe Missouri, I think so. And it's not very easy to see because I knitted it out of very fluffy yarn. But it's a lovely lace pattern up here. And it's quite wide. It's actually super wide and a little bit cropped. So I like to wear it like this with a blouse or a shirt underneath. In my last episode I talked to you about all the socks that I have to complete before Christmas. They are all something that I knit for my mother, and she will be giving them away to her closest friends, which are 3 couples. So I need to knit a total of 12 socks, or 6 pairs. And yeah, so basically I started in late August and I was on the first sock in my last episode. So yeah, I'm on my way. I have been knitting socks. Oh my gosh. And I am now on my 3rd pair. So I'm basically a jour or according to plan. I started off with this pair. There's 2 of them. This is man-sized sock pair. And this is the companion sock. So that's the kind of the idea I have. I'm knitting stripy socks with grey and another color for each of the pair. And the husband will get this pair and his wife will get the same colors but reversed. So it's a nice idea, isn't it? I really like them. And I have used this yarn. It is from Rauma. It is their PT5. It is a wool and nylon blend, and it's quite soft and nice. It is a sport weight. So I'm knitting the socks on needle number 3, or 3mm needles. So these are the September socks. And now I have completed the first October sock, which is a huge sock. It is European size 44. And I am started on sock number 6. Yes, so I need to complete these in October and knit the white socks in the reversed color of these as well. And actually they knit up quite fast due to the sport weight yarn and needle number 3. I have chosen to knit these with 1x1 rib, and then I continue with a 3x1 rib pattern all the way on the front of the foot, and I knit plain stockinette on the back. I knit slip stitch heel and do heel flap and gusset, decrease, and I do my very standard toe, which I explained all about in my sock special episode earlier this year. So that's what I do, and I Kitchener stitch the toe, and I now do the Kitchener stitching without tapestry needle, which is a very easy method that you can look up on Google or on YouTube, I mean, if you're interested in that. If you look on the inside, I can quickly show you that I do carry the yarn all the way. So I basically change the stripe color in the transition between one of the purl stitches and one of the knitted stitches. So it is right there. So you can't really see it because it's a very nice point to do this transition or change the stripe color, because when you knit rib socks like this, it almost is impossible to see. Oh, you can see it a little bit, but it's quite subtle, I think. You just need to make sure that it don't pull too much when you change the color. Otherwise it will be a little bit tight at that spot. So I really need to keep on knitting socks and complete this pair within this week. Today is Wednesday, so during this coming weekend I should complete the man size socks, and then I'm left with a couple of weeks in October to complete couple the other pair in this couple socks. I have also been knitting on an old whip from last fall. I'm sorry to say that I'm in the middle of a row. But this is also pink. Pink October, yay! So if you have been following me for some time, you will probably recognize this beautiful shawl, which is the Siggy shawl, a pattern by Joji Locatelli. I actually started the Siggy shawl last fall as a knit along, which I didn't follow through at all. Oof, I'm no good at knit alongs. So this has just been lingering around since last fall, basically. When I picked it up now, I was at this little birdie marker. It is a triangular shawl, starting up here, and consists of these beautiful lace patterns and some sections of garter stitches. And I was right in the middle of lace section number 2. So I have been completing that section and have been knitting almost to the end of the second garter stitch section. And then I ran out of yarn. Yes, I really love the color. I love the pattern. It's a lovely knit. It's quite easy. You only have to pay a little bit of attention while knitting the lace pattern. But I find it genius to construct a shawl like this. It makes it a little bit interesting to knit the lace pattern, and then it's only zooming away when you come to the garter stitch. So it's very mindless. It's a mindless knit, not mindful. It's a very easy pattern. I'm using Holst Super Soft. It's one of my favorite yarns ever. It's a little bit rustic, but it's wool, you know. I have another shawl knit up in Holst Super Soft, and it is, sorry for my dog, he's like walking around making noise with his claws. Hey Billy, you want to say hello? Come Billy. Oh, here is Billy, my loving dog. Can you say hello, Billy? Hello. No. He's very cuddly. Holst Super Soft, yes. It is one of my favorite yarns. This is a color called Sweet Pea. It is woolly, a little bit rustic, but when you wash it, it kind of blooms and expands and becomes a much softer fabric. So as I said, I have another shawl knit up in the same yarn, and it is by far my most worn shawl ever. Like I just love it, and it's so warm. It's another warmth when you knit with a wool like this, which smells. It smells wool. So yeah, the single shawl. The last thing I have been knitting on is a sweater. I just suddenly wanted to knit an Icelandic sweater. I was supposed to not buy any more yarn this year, or any yarn, because I haven't bought a single ball of yarn all year. But when I then suddenly craved to knit an Icelandic sweater, and I didn't have the right amounts or right colors of Let's Lopi, I suddenly found myself in my local yarn store purchasing yarn, basically. So these are the colors I have chosen for the Ridari, which I'm now knitting on. This beige, light brownish grey color is the main color. And I'm done with the sleeves. And that's not bad, is it? It's quite fast to knit them up. I start with the arms because it's kind of twofold. The main reason is that I don't care for making a gauge swatch. But when I cast on for an arm, I can measure my gauge very early on here, and if the gauge is completely off, there's no harm in ripping back a small piece of an arm. So that's what I do. And the other reason why I often start with knitting the arms on a sweater is that the arms are quite boring to complete after you have knitted the other part of the sweater. But when I start with the arms, I'm already done with the boring part. Yay me! So yeah, I have completed the arms now and have just casted on for the sweater itself. The Ridari is an Icelandic pattern. It is made by a knitting designer, but you can get it through the Järbo page, or just follow the link from Ravelry. So it's knitted bottom up, and it's got a lovely pattern yoke. Yeah, it's just beautiful. So I can't wait to have this finished before winter arrives. Yeah, that's what I've been knitting on. I see that the light here is a little bit shifting. I'm not sure why, but yeah. We are now in the afternoon and the sun is going down here at approximately 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So at some point I need to consider to get studio lights because the lighting situation is getting more and more difficult when I approach winter. I wanted to talk to you about something else though. Now I will take off my glasses because I see that there's a lot of reflection. In only 2 weeks we will be entering November, and on the Ina Knits podcast or the Ina Knits channel here on YouTube, that usually means that 1 month of Hygge is starting, and that, my friends, will happen this year as well. My 1 month of Hygge is a vlog series where I make like shorter episodes, more like vlogging style episodes every week approximately, focusing on hygge, which is a concept here in Scandinavia. It's a concept, and it's a word, and it has a meaning. It means doing cozy, lovely things for yourself or for someone you love. It can be lighting candles, it can be reading a book, snugging up on the couch, under a blanket. It can mean knitting. It can mean going out for a walk and enjoying the beautiful things. It has a lot of meaning, but I really want to emphasize the hygge concept in November, as November is my least favorite month. It's the darkest month. It often comes with few hours a day of daylight, and we haven't usually gotten any snow in November, so it's very dark. All the surroundings are so dark, and it's cold, windy and wet, and so for me it's important to then shift my focus over to something cozy and nice, and that's where hygge comes in. And I know that a lot of you really enjoy my hygge vlogs, so I hope that you will do so this year as well. I have actually been recording some snippets in October as well, so my plan is to put up a little October vlog maybe in a week or so, and then you need to be in the lookout for the hygge vlogs come November. So that, my friends, concludes this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you are staying safe and healthy. And I thank you all so much for watching, for all your lovely feedback. And please feel free to comment on this episode. Push the little thumbs up if you like the episode, and please feel free to subscribe. It's completely free. You only need to have a Google account and be logged in on YouTube in order to subscribe. Have a lovely October and happy knitting, everyone. Bye bye!